Hello and welcome to Spy Money. We're going to do our morning brief today. This morning, doing it kind of early today. It's 7:14 Eastern Standard Time, a.m. And last night I wasn't able to do the recap, and I apologize for that. But some things come up and I couldn't get it done. So we're going to kind of time in this morning together. The first thing we want to look at is where we are right now with ES. So with ES, last night we ended up rallying all evening. We hit a halt right here, so they shut us down for 15 minutes, and then it came down, and then it started coming back up, and then it halted again because of the increase that we had. So we ended up halting again, and then it held a halt until about 4 this morning, and then it sold off. Now, when it sold off at about 5:15, it actually came through and went through this bottom line. And I'll tell you about this bottom line in a minute. It's actually a support. And then we started rallying. Right now, I feel that we're going to keep on rallying and go right on past our stop of, where it halted around 2,500, give or take. It was like 24.98, so we'll just call it 2,500. And that is very important on a couple of reasons. Now we have a triple bottom, which is a bullish reversal signal. And that's a pattern that we're in. So we come down, we hit here, we went on up, had a little bit of recovery, then we come down, we hit again, and then now that we hit here, and then last night we end up coming up, we come down, we hit the third one. So now I'm full on bullish. Now the one thing about the news last night was they have a CV coronavirus in testing right now, where they're actually testing on humans now to make sure that it works the way it should. That is going to be, probably take a few days on that, and then once they get that proven and stuff, then when that vaccine actually comes out, or actually the cure for it, when that comes out and they are full on board with we have this, then our market is going to rally hard, because that's really what we're kind of waiting on. We're waiting on some sort of news to show that we've got this under control. So if they have a vaccine, then we've got that. So it's kind of funny that the news reports comes right in, right when things are actually turning on the market itself using patterns. So I'm big in patterns more so than news. So I watch the patterns, and if the patterns show that I need to do that, then I go ahead and hop on. Now I've been buying. See, this was on Friday, and if we come back a little more, I started buying on Thursday. That's when I started buying my calls. So you're better off to buy on the way down. And based on the trend line that we were on, I felt that that's where we needed to be. So when we hit the trend line and come out of that, and what I do mean by trend line is we go back to that weekly. Let's see here, right there. When we come through and we hit this trend line, that's when I started thinking that we were going to be more bullish at that point. So right now we're above this trend line. We're actually right there. So we are above this line here, which is where we want to be. And because of that, I've been bullish on it. Now, you can't just buy based on that one trend. You got to see other things. But based on the news coming out with the government stepping in and so forth, and so that's what's made me bullish. So when we come down and touched it, then I turned into more of a bull, and that's right here. So we're actually a little bit lower than it right now, but we're coming up. We should be able to get through that today. When we get through this today, then I think it's just full on board. And the one thing about what you have to look at here is when you have a big old drop, you're going to have some consolidation. So we had this big old drop come down, and right now we're consolidating. We're not actually taking off, we're just consolidating. But where we've had this three bottom reversal pattern, that makes me lean more to being a lot more bullish than what I was. So on the ES, that is pretty much what the market kind of follows. The ES and Dow Jones both together, but I follow more of the ES signals, and that gives me more idea of what's going on. There's The S&P 500 has, I think it's 505 properties, or 505 stocks now that it has in it, whereas the Dow Jones has right at 30. So I base my decision more so on over 500 than I do 30. And right now I'm looking at this, and I'm full bullish on it. I think that if not today, tomorrow, then that's when we're going to start taking off a whole lot. So with the government coming in, stepping in, doing the pumps on it that they did, then that's helped as far as kind of just like stop it and get a pattern started for reversal. So with them dumping the money in it, that's been great to do it. But to me, it's all kind of coincidental that here we are on the trend, and now they start wanting to do something. So I'm more on trend than I am on coincidence. I just think that if you watch your patterns, that you'll actually end up doing better. So we've got this pattern up here, where we hit, that was the top of it, and then we've got this bottom one down here, and now we're, starting to come up off from it. So with having this 3 bottom reversal, that tells me that we are there. So I've already bought up a whole bunch of calls. Like I said, I started buying on Thursday. I bought a whole bunch on Friday. Bought more yesterday. And if I bring this over, this is what I bought yesterday. And I did a little bit of scalping in there too. But for the most part, this is buying. Like SPY right now, I think I've got 200 SPY calls. And I've got enough in ES futures calls that would equate to about 1,600 SPY calls. So I'm loaded up pretty good on SPY and ES. I'm in gold puts, and right now gold is actually coming down pretty good. So this is where we are. Where do I think we're going to be today? We could actually consolidate today, and we could even consolidate tomorrow. But I don't think we're going to be testing this down here, this support again. That's at roughly 2380 or so. I just don't see us coming down hitting that again. I believe that we're going to actually get through the trend today. Will we get to 2572? We could very easily do that. That's only like 130 points or so from where we are. So we can move 300 points like we did on Friday. So Friday we end up jumping 315 points, I believe it was, and we could easily take off and do that now, but I'm not sure that we will do that. I think that we're probably going to be consolidating a little bit. We might go up maybe 100 points or so. If we go up to 100 points, then we're going to be close to that 2572. I'd really like to see that today. If we hit the 2572, we'll probably end up bouncing down onto the trend line, and when we bounce down on that, then I think that we'll going up. When this takes off in a rage, we are going to move quick. So if you're going to get in it, don't base your opinion on what I say, but if you're going to, then you probably ought to get in and go long. I have some calls all the way through September, so it just depends on what I bought. I've got some that are shorter. I don't think I have anything less than 30 days other than what I bought just for a scalp. So anything I bought was June, July, and up through September is where I'm buying right now. So you could hop in that if you like, and you probably will end up coming out pretty good on it. If we go over to the gold and we look at it, I've got this pattern set up that's actually working out really nice. Coming down through here, it's touching the bottom and right across the top. I had it originally on up. Of course, this is moving a little bit off of that time frame, but see there. See, I had it originally up here, but it's really more of a pattern right through here. So, and I could adjust that a little bit. It's hard to get that pattern in there to get the candles the way I want them, but for the most part, it is pretty accurate. Now, I got in 2 contracts, and I've got 3 gold puts up here. So I've got two micro contracts in here that's coming down, and right now I tell you what, we'll check on it. This is the micro, which is the same as gold, and right now I'm up $312. So with being up 300 or well 306, 308, over $300 for the day, and the trade I'm in right now is 35 down, but it's as soon as it breaks through, then it'll take off. So So I'm up a little over $300 a day on that. On my gold puts, I'm not sure where I am on that, but I know I'm up on it, but it's not very much yet. I think I'm up, let's see here, up 33%, so that's like $140 I'm up on it. And that'll start changing as soon as it gets below this line, then the money will start kicking in. And where are we going with it? This is what everybody wants to know. Where's our bottom? What are we looking for? Well, I personally am looking for the 1371. That's where I'm looking. I think that this will actually come down. And let's see here. Move this up a little bit. There we go. I think this will just continue to come right straight on down and just follow this line. It might hit rolling through here and then bounce a little, but I think it's just going to keep on going. When this comes down, I don't see it hitting there again before it comes here. And there's a good chance that this may just go ahead and just sell off right here and come straight down through that pattern. It's looking for the 1371 more so than that pattern right now. But it's staying within that pattern, so I think that it will probably do like I said the first time. So when we look at this, it's trying to stay in the pattern, but it's breaking a little bit. It come down, touch there. So the pattern is not 100%. Where I'm more on the money, I think is going to be a 1371. Now, they say, of course, I don't go by them. I go by my own patterns. But the news media, on some of the financial news, they say it's going down to 1200. Well, see, I don't have a fib for 1200. And I do believe that it's going to go to this one here. And when it goes down to this one, I think it might actually pop up a little bit. I'm not real sure. So we'll have to take little by little until we get there. As far as, once we get down so far, then I'll probably go ahead and redraw a new fib and see where I think it's going to be going. But for right now, I'm looking at that 1371. I think it was 1371? Yeah, 1371. And I'm looking at that either today or tomorrow. When it hits that, then I will go ahead and sell my gold puts, and I'll get out of those two contracts as well. And I very well may get out the two contracts sometime today. It just depends on where they are, but I'll probably just let them run. If I let them run, then time I get down to 1371, let's see here, going down. 1371 would be right on through here, so it'd be close to $2,000 I'd have on those contracts. So I'd get a $2,000 there, and then my 3 puts I've got, that will probably bring me somewhere. Probably a good guess would be about $15,000 in profit there. So once we get down there, then I could potentially make somewhere between $15,000 and $18,000 on my gold here in the next couple of days, either today or tomorrow. And again, this could drop really fast, but I think it's going to probably be tomorrow before it actually happens. So that would bring in some money there. And then and as far as if you'd like to learn how to do all this, I've actually got a training course that I was supposed to be done yesterday, but I couldn't get it all done. I'm still working on it. Maybe today I'll get it done, if not tomorrow. But I will put this up in a link, and I'll make a new video that comes out, and it'll be talking about our training courses, and you can actually learn how I trade futures. So, and future contracts is going to be the first one. The second video is going to be future options, and that, or actually training course, not video. But I actually go through it step by step. I actually do live trading to show you how to do it, and also a lot of tutorials as far as videos explaining what the futures is and how it come to pass and how we trade them and all that. So if you're really looking for a good course that's fairly reasonable, we're going to sell them for $199 a piece. So you can afford that. You'll make that in the first trade that you do with it once you understand it. So you can get your money back in no time. So on the futures course, that will be out. Hopefully, I'd like to get it out today, but definitely by tomorrow. So, and I teach all this as far as how to do it, and that way you're not going in blindly. For very little money, you can figure out what you want to do with it. And let's see, if we go back into crude oil. Crude oil, I actually got in calls right here. I thought it was going to go ahead and take off. It actually come down. I'm down probably 30% or so on my crude oil calls. I'm still holding. I've got through May on these, so I'll hold them. This should bounce as soon as the market gets turned. This will actually bounce. So whenever we get that bounce, then my calls will go up. I may go ahead and jump in some puts and just let it ride out, and that'll kind of hedge me a little bit. I probably should have done that up in here somewhere, but I really thought that it was going to break this trend and just keep on going. Or not trend, but your fib. And so crude oil, I'm still I'm bullish, but not real strong bullish. I don't think it would hurt to go ahead and get in and be more long term on it. So if you ended up buying calls on this, then I would get them at least 90 days out or so. But I think we've got just a little more drop as far as where we may come down to this part here. Let me open this back up in a 4 hour. Let's see here. We have to go back further. Okay, so right there's where we actually touched before. I thought we would actually bounce right on through here, but we didn't. We are in that descending triangle, but we're going to get this bounce and come back up to here. So right now we're almost at that bottom, which is 25.86. That's probably where we'll end up being. Right now we are at 29.12, so we'll probably hit the 25, what is that, 25.93, give or take. We would probably hit that, and that's when we'll bounce back. So that's what I'm waiting on. I've got time, so I'm fine on my calls. But as soon as we get that bounce, the premiums are going to go up. So I will probably go ahead and buy maybe a 1 or 2 puts and go ahead and ride it down to this part. And then once we get to that point, then I'll, right before we touch it, I'll be selling and I'll be jumping in calls in order to get that bounce up. So that's where we are with crude oil. The dollar is actually, so go back, that's a weekly. It's actually coming into this pennant right here. And a pennant, you just never know what's going to happen with a pennant. That's the problem. So we're going up. We'll hit this right here, and then as soon as we hit 99.94, give or take, then we're going to sell off on that. So I don't think that we'll actually break through that and keep on going. So if we go back to a daily, I think we're going to hit that, and then we'll come back down, probably hit the 94.206, and it'll probably just kind of sell off a little bit down to that point. And once we hit it, then we'll be bouncing back up. So this pennant is actually taking precedence over these fibs. And I thought we were going to, when we hit this and we start selling off, I thought we would go ahead and come on down and hit it, but we never. So you never know. I mean, sometimes it'll just keep on going. Now, a lot of times when you're in a pennant, if the stock is, or the tickers are actually staying closer to the top as it comes down, it'll usually bounce out and be bullish. If the candles are coming down and it's staying along the bottom, it'll usually just fall right out. So, and it usually don't go all the way out to the end. So, I mean, it could fall out anytime in here. So, just keep an eye on it. I think over probably the way this is moving, we'll probably get a pullback on this today, and then it'll probably take off and hit it. So, I'm looking probably tomorrow that we'll go up and hit that. So, we didn't hit it the last time. So, it's actually still searching to hit it. So, we have that one, and I can't go back further, but from the back, and then this one. So, we're still trying to hit this before it will actually bounce back. And the Dow Jones ended up selling off big yesterday. We closed up here, and which was what, 23.29 or so, and it dropped way down. So we actually, I don't have the numbers up there, but we dropped, I think it was 2,000 points or so yesterday. Will it reverse today? I hope so. With the ESRE up, I'm sure that the Dow Jones is up as well. Thinkorswim don't update this for some reason at night. Then we have NG. I'm still bullish on it. We actually went up and hit this 50 and bounced down, but I think that this is actually going to turn around and come back up. So if we go back into 1 hour, 1 hour we actually come down, touch that bottom VWAP. We're actually coming up now. So I'd like to see this continue on up, and if we come back, I'm looking for the 211. right now we're in a little bit of a consolidation, and if you look right here, I just picked up on this channel. Let's see here. Now we come down to here, more along through there. So we're in this channel right now, and we come down, touched, and went up and hit that. So we may end up coming down to the 164 on this, and then once we hit it, then we'll probably come on up. So, and this is on a 1 hour chart, and we're actually headed that way. So we may end up doing that. I may go ahead and jump in some puts on that. Our 15 and 50 are crossing that 180, so it's looking like we're coming down on it. And we'll know more about that. Usually natural gas will have a tendency to kind of run with the market as well sometimes, but we are in the spring. We've got a high demand, or a low demand and a high supply, so that will actually make prices drop. But I'm still long-term bullish where we touched this trend down here and went up. I think this may come down and just touch again, and then going up, we may even hit a triple bottom. That's going to take some time for all this to happen, and then once we do that, we're going to be closer to the springtime and being closer to the, or not spring, but the fall time. Once we get closer to the fall time, then this is going to come on up. So I'm looking, still holding this spot here. So that is going to be in June is what I'm looking for there. And when we hit that in June, if we do, then at that time frame, we're going to be starting to need more natural gas. So at that point, I think we may end up consolidating a little bit and then come up and we might hit the 326. That's long-term vision though. And based on the charting and what we're doing, that's kind of where the direction I'm going. I don't know if we'll hit that, but I'm sure we'll probably hit this spot. That's my opinion. The NQ, same as ES, of course. And NQ is actually doing the same thing. It didn't have the, let's see here, it didn't have the triple bottom like the ES did, because right there's one, then this is down lower, but this is a higher low, so that's a good thing. But I believe that this is going to go ahead and continue to go up. It may come down and through here somewhere and then take off, but for the most part I think it's on the upper two, and you can see that it hit the circuit breaker last night as well. And then we come down to VIX. VIX, we ended up starting selling off yesterday, and then it popped back up. I think that today this is probably going to come crashing down, and when it comes crashing down, I will be very, very happy. Right now I think I'm up, I think it was like 20% or so. I think I'm up on it. Let's see if we look here. Do the symbol, come down. 55%. So I'm up 55% on VIX right now. So that's pretty good. So I don't have much in it. I got like $250 profit on it right now. So I've got about a $500 trade on it. But as soon as this thing starts dropping, that's going to turn into, probably, 2,000-3,000% profit is what it'll be when it starts coming down. And I think those are, April 1st, I think it is what I got on those. I can't tell by the ticker on it. I think it's April 1st coming down. So I'm pretty comfortable about VIX coming down, because when the market starts reversing, this will just drop, hard, just like it did right here. I mean, it went from 77 all the way down to, so that's like 21 points it dropped right there, and that's a huge percentage. If you look at that, that's going to be from there, from there to there, it's just 27%. So 27% is easily to drop. So when the market turns, this will drop really fast, and when it does, then that's when you sell. If we come back up to, I added this one. This is American Airlines. Yesterday, in our Discord chat, if you don't know anything about our Discord chat, what we do is we have a lot of traders. It's a monthly subscription, and you pay, you be in there, and we have call outs. So anything I trade or the other people trade, they post, and we have chat rooms where we discuss our trades and what's going on in the market, anything that someone sees that, hey, you need to get in this. So yesterday, Kevin, one of our members, he ended up talking about getting into American Airlines. So I jumped in at, I think, right on through here. It was in the morning when he started talking about it. So I looked at the chart. The chart looked good to me, and I went in, hopped in, and right now I am up. Let's see, American Airlines. Where are you? American Airlines. I got in before Trump actually started talking last night, and announced that he was going to bail out the airlines. And now I'm up $895 on it, 223%, and that was right here. So we're up even more now. So when we open today and this starts going up, then I mean we're talking, I'll probably be up by the end of the day probably 7 or 800%. So I should, and will I sell it? No, I'm gonna hold it. I'm gonna make it going up. There's a chance I might go ahead and sell at the high today, and then I'll take the profits and then just go ahead and buy long-term calls again. So that way I can actually get some profit out of it, and then take my original investment. I'll keep that, and then I'll take the profit of the original investment. Like I said, if I put $200 on it, then I'll keep my $200, and then I'll take $200 of the profit and then buy long-term calls again. So I might do that, but I might go ahead and hold it long-term because the airlines are just going to keep on pumping. And if we look at this one, if we go into a weekly, see, we're way down here's where it went, and I got in about here. So this is going to fill this gap pretty quick now. So if we go from here up to, say, the middle of that, that's going to be 43% right there. And it'll probably do that over the course of, maybe a week or so. I think it should fill that up pretty good, and that would get us back up to around the 26. But this used to be at 58% or $58, and that's 73% more. So there's a good chance, and I think my calls they're June 19th, so I've got plenty of time to hold that and just let it keep on going. So I may hold it because I know this is just going to continue to go up, and that's just going to turn into a lot of money off of a small investment. I think I've got, let's see here. I think I got $530 in on that one. I think it's fun. No, it's not that much. Let's see. If I bring this one over and look at that, if I find it. Right there's what I bought. I bought 10 calls at 40, so I got $400 in that. So having $400 in that investment is going to turn into something, really, really huge. So we should be real good on that one. So what I'm thinking is, if I hold that one, longer term, those calls are just going to go nuts eventually. So that's a good one for you to get in, American Airlines. And then we have Apple. Apple is trying to reverse. These fibs are actually out of date now. Those are not good anymore, so I need to redraw those. Let's see here. If we go here, delete that out, and then let's see, that I'll have to do it this way to get those in there. Okay, so we come down and touch these fibs here, and when it hit, it bounced up, come down, hit it again, bounced up. So now it's starting to come off of here. I think Apple long term, I think it's going to be pretty good. They shut down those stores, which kind of give it a little bit of negative impact. So yesterday, let's see, actually day before yesterday, when it rallied, if you'd have bought puts up here and let it come on down, no one knew that it was going to do that. But as soon as the announcement happened with Trump, which was here, and then Apple come out and said they were going to go ahead and shut down all the stores, it just tanked. So Apple was a pretty good one if you got in up here, but right now I would not be in puts on it right now. I think that this is going to turn, today or tomorrow. If we go to AMD, AMD is kind of the same thing. All the stocks are pretty much following the same way. This pattern right here is no longer in existence. So we could actually turn this one to say right right there. So if we turn this one to there, and then let me back this up there. There we go. That could be a possible trend line for it, and I don't like using just based off of 2. I like to have 3 or more, and so far we don't have it, so this is not a strong trend for me. And I think over time this could be, and if we take this one and bring this one on down, let's see, actually right there, so we go back to and see what it's actually hitting. Yeah, so see, we're still on 2 trend lines here. It's actually, it looks like it's trying to form a pennant. So if we bring this one to here, let me come back. Let's see, I can raise that one up a little bit. Right there. Right there. So it looks like it's trying to possibly form a pennant. And on this one, I think it'll actually be a bullish one, because just AMD itself, I just know the direction it's probably going to go, and it's probably going to go up. I'm looking at the 5113. I've got calls on it, and I might be down just a little bit because I bought them quicker to get them on the cheaper side. Let's see. Yeah, I'm down like 23% on the AMD calls, but I'm fine with that. Whenever I bought my calls, I knew that it might come down a little bit, but I was willing to take that chance because I know it's going to pop, and I wanted to get in cheap calls. So I'll probably get some more on that today and average that down a little bit, and then when it takes off, then it'll be really good. We got Boeing. Boeing has some headlines today, and they were talking about how even if they had all the planes that were recalled and say all canceled and everything, all the orders they had, Boeing has more than enough money to cover all of that and still not take any kind of losses or anything. So Boeing financially is in great shape. I mean, I think it was something like around $20 billion that they had just kind of laying in a bank account that they could use for whatever. And so if they had all their orders canceled, then they would still have, like something like 400 or 500% left over in a bank account that they're not hurting. They just wouldn't get those profits on it. So would it hurt the stock if they were all canceled? Yes, but I just don't see all of that happening. I think I've got 40 calls on Boeing long term, and I feel that Boeing's a good one. I don't think you can go wrong with it. 127.55, and it was not too long ago. It was like 400 or so. Let me look back on it. Go to a weekly. 446 was back in March the 4th. So, where we are right now, I just think that is a very, very good one to get in and make a lot of money on long term. It may not be this week or whichever, but I think you can't go wrong on it. Even buying shares, if you're just going to buy shares in Boeing, I mean, you can buy, say, $10,000 worth, and say, well, that's going to be 12,000 or so would be 1,000 shares. If you bought 1,000 shares here, then you're going to possibly make $3,000 just on buying shares if you held it till it got up here and sold them. You're better off to take a lot less money and buy calls and buy them long term, and by the time it comes up here, you're going to make a whole lot more money than that. But if you're someone that is a long-term investor, then I think this would be a very, very good buy opportunity for you. CCL, Carnival Cruise Lines. If we come back to the 15, see what's going on with that. Still dropping a little bit. Trump did say that the government is actually going to jump in and help them as far as all the cruise lines get back on their feet and get going. So I'm long on this one. I said originally that it would probably come down to the 1485. Last night we actually dropped through a little bit, and actually we dropped through yesterday pre-market too. But right now we are making a higher low. So we went all the way down to 1364, and now we're at 1409 for the low today. So this may come on down a little more, may not, but I'm long on it. Clorox, yesterday I added this one in our Discord group, and like I said earlier, if you're not in not plugged into our Discord group, that is one that would definitely make you money. So I told everybody the night before, and I posted a chart that Clorox is one you want to get in. So several of them got into the Clorox yesterday morning at the opening, and they rode that on up. So they made quite a bit of money just off of Clorox. And I actually set a buy order for it, and it did not get filled, believe it or not. So because when it opened, it just spiked. And I put my order to where we would have a little bit of pullback, and then we get it. So I got greedy and missed the trade. So anyway, right now I think it's still a good buy, but where it spiked up like that, the premiums are high. I'm waiting on, as soon as it comes up and pulls back, I'll buy on the pullback and then hop back in. I may miss it entirely, but I'm just not going to pay a high premium for something that the IB would actually crush me on. So I'm long on Clorox, and it's mainly because in the media, all they've talked about is how everybody needs to buy Clorox wipes and this and that. So that has spiked this drastically. I mean, you can see right here that the whole downturn of the market, Clorox has been coming up. So from right here, it just went up the whole time. So if I would have known and thought about it, then I could have got in back here and then just took off, and I'd still be in it right now. But I didn't. Disney, back last week I was talking about how I thought that it would go down to $80, but I ended up hopping out of my puts right here, which I wish I would have waited there, but I hopped out here, and it dropped one more night, and then so this Friday it actually sold off, but then it's been on an uptrend. So there's a lot of people that got into Disney puts, not in our group, but a lot of other people got into Disney puts, and I sold here, which would be a little soon, but I got my money. I thought it was actually going to take off here. So it dropped down, it's coming up. So right here, you're losing all premium. If you're in Disney puts and you didn't sell here and you thought it was going to keep on going, when it came up, you lost your premium. So, and then as this consolidation period right here, it's just eating away premiums. So Disney, I ended up getting into calls. It was on, actually that was Thursday. I sold on Wednesday, it dropped on Thursday. I got in calls on, I can't remember if it was Thursday or Friday, that I bought calls long. And let's see, those, I'm up like 12% on them. So I'm up on my calls. I must have bought them over here. I'm up on my calls, and so I'm doing pretty good on them. We have Roku. Roku, again, this stuff is made in China. I think that we may have hit our bottom here. I'm not sold on that yet, but that's kind of what it's looking. And let's see if I can take this channel out. We don't need that anymore. So Roku, usually when you have this big old hard sell-off, that is a sign that we might have a reversal on it. That's everybody jumping in more, selling off a little more, getting the shorts in that last little bit, and then they'll start covering. So we'll see what happens today. We could easily go down to the 50.04, and I've got my alert set here. And more than likely, that's probably what we'll do. The 50.04 will probably, that's your 618 fib. When it hits that, I think that we'll have a few days of consolidation, and then it should take off. Our market is changing now. China's back to work. So getting product is not going to be hard for them. So Roku, I think I would be long here, and I may pick up some calls on that on the downtrend today. Get some like July or August, maybe September calls, and just let that take off. And we should be able to get back up to the 140s, pretty quick actually. And we've got space. I'm in space calls on that. I was kind of back and forth on what I wanted to do with that. I was kind of thinking that we might get down to the $6.80 range, and we still might, and I might actually go ahead and hop in some calls just to hedge a little bit. But when you look right here, you can see that we are staying right on that support line right there. And we're real close to that 14, and as soon as the market reverses a little bit, I think space is probably going to take off. So I'm not real sure about that one as far as, if you should go long or not. I did buy some calls on it. I think I bought something like 10 calls or something like that. I'm down 16% on it, which is fine. I didn't buy them short term. I bought them for long term. And because when this thing actually decides to turn and go up, the IB is going to be so strong on it that it's going to be hard to afford it. And then as it moves up, you're not going to make as much. And SPY, of course, was going up. It's sold off again since we've been talking, but I do believe that this is just going to take off. So that's where we are with SPY. Right now we're at 239.85. I believe today we'll probably be in the 258 range by the time today's over. Chance we might be even higher, but at least to there. That's where I would say. TLT is our treasury bonds, and we sold off last night. We come up, I think we're going to bounce right here at this 162.15. Well, actually, it just popped over. So I think we'll bounce right here, and then I think we'll end up being down to the 157.64 today. This is going to be a little bit of consolidation. If the market actually takes off strong, this is going to potentially come on back down to the 152.26. And I would like to sell mine today. So if we can get a drop out of this, I would sell my March call or March puts and just hold my April puts. So I'll make money on my April. And I'm up pretty good on my March ones. Tesla just keeps on dropping. I actually thought we would stop at the 476, but we kept going. Where are we going to go from here? It's hard to say. We may go ahead and come back out of here, but right now it looks like we're going down to the 360 range. And so Tesla is one that can actually just take off on you and leave you behind. So that one's completely up to you as far as what you want to do. The fibs show that it's probably going to keep on going, but just because the fibs there doesn't mean it has to stop there or reverse or whichever. So that's where we are with Tesla. And then we got Walmart. Walmart's actually doing really well. I'm up a lot of money on Walmart, and as soon as this takes off, which in my opinion will be today, because we're already up in pre-market and everything. So we closed down here at 106.71, and it went to a high of 112.01. So Walmart's actually trying to take off. So I'm still a believer in Walmart. I've made a lot of money on it. I'm actually up right now with all the calls I bought. I think I've got 160 or maybe 200 calls on it. So this one is going to be a good one for me. I've been buying cheap calls long term and doing very well. There's a lot of people in our Discord group that jumped on Walmart, and they're starting to see the profits as well. A bunch of them have already scalped it. They've been scalping all through here, but I've just held mine. And then if we come back to ES and look at it one more time like we always do, we're coming down. We've got the right here. So, I think, we might be able to touch that again, but I think ES is just going to go ahead and go today. We've got too much good news coming out. There's a lot of people, the investors and brokerages and stuff that are talking about it as far as possible reversals and so forth. We have some negative news as well, but I think as soon as we get a vaccine come out and they announce that you can open up the stores and stuff and go back to your normal routine, this is going to explode. So it's cheaper to get in your calls now and wait it out for another couple days or a week or whatever, and as it is to wait for the reversal and then hop in and try to buy it. Because right now I'm buying calls for 6 cents a piece, and you can't buy SPY for 6 cents. I mean, you just can't do it. You never do. So what I'm paying for it right now is, they're just practically begging me to take their money. And eventually I'm going to be sitting back holding that, and it'll be, that 6 cents will now be, $10. So that's what I'm hoping that'll happen here pretty soon. So I stand to make a lot of money on my SPY. So that's where we are with that. And like I said, the Discord group, if you want to get plugged into it, I post a lot of charts. We have our chat rooms. The chat rooms are really good because we just discuss what's going on in the stock market. A lot of news coming out. We have different people posting different things. It's not just me. We work as a team. We all work together, and we each bring different calls to each other. And just that one that one of the members brought on the American Airlines, I'm up $900 on it. Another member brought the TLT, and that one, I'm up a couple grand on it. So just those two right there, if I was paying the membership to myself, then that would pay my membership for a very long time. So just those two calls, Walmart, that was one that I posted out. I posted out the Carnival Cruise Lines, the BA, and then someone brought in Amazon yesterday, so I've got an order for Amazon. Let me look at that real quick, because I meant to put that on the list, and I'm going to put that on the list right now to keep it there. But Amazon is having record sales. So, and we're down, from what, almost 21.85, and we're down right now to 16.89. So if you get in on an Amazon call, that's going to be worth a lot of money. Now, the one thing about, let's see here, back over here. See, I've got a buy on the June 19th call, and I got it at right here. So I'm looking at a 3,000 call, because I think it's going, when it takes off, it's going to go above that. But I think I've got it at 60 cents. That's what I've got on that one. If we move 1,000 points, so that's 60 cents, and that's going to put us, that 60 cent one will turn into $68. So if I have to, I'm going to pay the 80, and I'll probably buy maybe 10 of them, and then I'm just going to hold them for a little bit. Because when Amazon hits earnings, which is going to be, let's look back here and see when their earnings comes up. Their earnings are going to be excellent. Looking 423. So we've got another month or so, and earnings are going to come out, and this one spike. So if you're wanting to get into something that's pretty good, Amazon would be a good one. They're high premiums, but if you know where to buy and so forth and how far out, then you can actually get a decent deal on it and make ridiculous money. So I think I've got an order of 10 calls on it. And if I buy those in today, then those are going to be worth a lot of money over, say a month. Right after earnings, when that earnings hit, it's going to just take off. They are selling out. I mean, people can't buy it in the stores right now, so they're buying online. And like toilet tissue, for instance, you can't buy toilet tissue on Amazon. They're sold out. So Amazon is a good tip for you. And if we go back to the 5-minute, pull back here a little bit. So I'd like to see it come on back up, and I'd like to see it open at, say right up here at the high of 20, call it 2,500. I'd like to see it open at 25. It'd be nice if it would open above this trend line of 25.20. So that's where I'm looking at today. Going to be a lot of consolidation. So don't get get depressed or hopes up or whichever. It's going to be a lot of consolidation, a lot of ups and downs. You just need to go in here and scalp it. If you're a futures trader, you could scalp this in contracts and actually make pretty good money. So this was a long brief. Sorry about that. It is a lot to talk about, and I'd try to catch up on the brief or the recap as well. So I will see you this evening, and I hope you stay green today and make a lot of money. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share our videos. Thank you.